Welcome to the IoT Podcast show. I'm your host, Tom White. I'm joined today with Bob Sharon. Bob is the founder of Blue IoT. Blue IoT is an innovative and award-winning company disrupting the commercial building space and its progression towards a sustainable and environmentally friendly world. Bob is also the executive counsel for the IoT AA, and we're very pleased to have you on the show today, Bob. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Tom. Very much appreciated.
You're very welcome. Bob, could you start by just explaining who you are and what your experience is within IoT and the mission behind Blue IoT?
Okay, well, basically, I'm the founder, Chief Innovation Officer, Chief Bottle Washer, and CEO of Blue IoT, which was formed about 4.5 years ago now. And the whole idea is to leverage IoT as an enabler. We don't sell IoT. Some people go selling IoT as this great widget. Isn't it great? You've got to have one. It's cool. It's awesome. But if it doesn't achieve anything, what's the point? And so what we do is we leverage the Internet of Things as an enabler to support the blue economy, hence Blue IoT. And the blue economy is, what does it take to build something? What does it take to maintain it? And what effect does it have on the people using it? And what effect does it have on the community and the greater planet? So it's a 360-degree approach. And so that's what Blue IoT is all about. And so we're basically a disruptive, an innovative smart cities vendor, an integrator, renowned for our Encompass Blue Platform, which is in fact the world's first cloud-based IoT platform suite for smart cities management. And it's basically driven by a green tech, prop tech, and systems thinking approach. It's a 360-degree approach. And so we're very much at the forefront of sustainability, innovation, delivering outstanding results. Because at the end of the day, it's not about we've got a great thing. What can we do? What are we delivering? Not what the marketing says. What are we actually delivering? And challenging times like the present have acted as a catalyst for advancing smart buildings, cities, assets to optimize the wellness of people and the planet. So Blue IoT acts on this urgency for sustainability, rendering solutions for substantially preserving our planet's resources, whilst simultaneously enhancing the human experience and executing a move towards carbon net zero, which is very important. So what we've done, the heart of our system is Encompass Blue, which delivers savings up to 50% of energy, maintenance, and subsequent carbon footprint reduction. And so we consolidate an array of functions. The state-of-the-art technology embodies excellence in cloud, IoT, interoperability, smart sensors and controllers, machine learning, predictive maintenance, cybersecurity, etc. And it provides a broad open platform for digital transformation in facilities management, infrastructure buildings, hotels, etc. Additionally, this technology facilitates effective COVID-19 risk mitigation services, which is one of our a la carte menu line items. And we're notable for its continuous engagement model. Blue IoT is focused on a partnership with its clients, enabling continuous flow of benefits. Traditionally, companies will install something, and if it breaks, they'll come back and fix it. But what we do, we're continuously there through our ongoing subscription, delivering continuous commissioning, continuous improvement, continuous safety, and interpretation of data. One of the big problems out there is everyone's bombarded with data. They don't know what to do with it. But we interpret it with our experts in-house and then continuously return to the triple bottom line. So, you know, we're an organization that actually cares about outcomes, and we're continuously innovating, and we're both, as I said, a vendor and an integrator. So we'll collaborate with other companies. We'll interoperate through open APIs to other organizations and other platforms in order to deliver not a 10% benefit, but 30, 40, 50, 60% benefit, as well as a much enhanced human experience, in order, in keeping with WELL's ratings, as well as sustainability ratings. So it's an entirely different model.
Yeah. Thank you, Bob. Yeah, I mean it's quite amazing, really, what you've managed to achieve, right, in those 4.5 years, especially when it comes to the Encompass Blue platform. You started to touch on that just then, actually, but one of the things that I'm curious about, and I know our listeners will be, was within the Encompass Blue platform, what are the specific things that it can do within progression of smart cities, and as a monitoring solution? How could you just describe that succinctly for our listeners so they exactly know what the Encompass Blue platform does?
Okay, well, but instead of having some kind of a box on site and things, traditional sensors are wired up in a building connected to some main box or PC, at the site, which is more traditional in the way things operate. Our system operates from the cloud, where we've got big data analytics, we've got machine learning, we'll soon have AI, and we have our visualization platform and a whole lot of things there, because the idea of having it in the cloud is we can look at a building or a bunch of buildings or a campus of buildings or buildings spread around a planet, for that matter, or even agriculture, from the cloud, and look at it as a total ecosystem and understand the operation, not just some bunch of some bunch of individual components working on their own. And so what we do is we're able to look at everything as a big ecosystem, but then we also have our own hardware that we've developed. So we might use third-party hardware. We've developed our own sensors, and we leverage LoRaWAN as a major protocol, which is a global standard. We like to use global standards. But we developed our own controllers, which are radio controlled to actually run devices in buildings. So we run the actuators, turn things on and off remotely, and that all can be done from any device anywhere. That means a facilities manager could be running 10 buildings from their phone or their laptop and have full control right from here, and have all the alarms, have all the visuals, and have everything. And so the idea then of whether it's just monitoring, whether it's condition monitoring of mission critical infrastructure, or total control, total building automation, and total management of a facility, which can be done. It's all done that way, and it's done wirelessly, it's done efficiently. So, you're not drilling holes through walls. Even sensors are wireless and running on batteries, which on average will last 5 years. And so the beauty there is we're now running in the 21st century, where we're not cabling everything up and drilling holes through walls. And the best part is cybersecurity. We're not running on an IP network, because all your traditional systems, they're running BACnet over IP, or they're running some form of Ethernet network across. And they're running VPNs everywhere for a bit of security, but there's much more complexity, much more room for failure and higher risk of a hack. And we have the famous fish tank case. We have the famous Target case in the US, where someone broke in through a temperature sensor and credit card details were stolen. And it was a big disaster. So what we do is we mitigate the risk by running a complete non-IP network. And that's why we get the tick from IT departments. We're not touching their network. And so the risk is by far reduced. And yet we're managing total facilities in a redundant fashion, by the way, from the cloud. So if gateways fail, it doesn't matter. If backhaul telcos fail, it doesn't matter, because we use multiple gateways, multiple telcos, and we're in a tier 4, run in tier 4 data centers, which again are backed up. If the data center got bombed, it wouldn't matter, because they're mirroring to another data center. So it is totally redundant, totally resilient, and putting all this together has never been done before. But we are delivering this for many clients, and we're building our client base. And when you're saving 50% over traditional systems, and then a company doesn't have to go to 3 or 4 different companies, one to get advice on what what HVAC equipment or lighting or whatever to put in, or how to organize your control logic in the systems, or how to do this or that, or then, a different organization to work out sustainability for that part of the building, and all of these things. It makes life so much easier because we're not having 10 companies blaming each other when things go wrong. And so we're able to integrate and put it all together and take responsibility and just keep, being the partner of our clients and working together for a mutually beneficial outcome, and not fighting them or charging every time they want to change. Oh, that will be $50,000, sir. And you don't get any French fries with that,
Yeah.
So it's totally different. So it's very satisfying. Everyone we're dealing with, I'm just amazed because it's disruption on many levels. Even our own staff. We have a highly discriminatory employment policy, and everyone's ears are flapping. Isn't that great? Some people think not. Well, if you haven't got a sense of humour, you can't work for Blue IoT. I'm very strict about that part. So we love to have fun. We're very flexible. It's one of the few companies I'm aware of, and I've worked for many companies where people can, write their own job descriptions, because as people get the feel of what they want to do, and they're talented in a certain area, we'll encourage it, because we want them to work in areas that they're talented in, and we'll leverage that. And guess what? People just become so productive. They just want to do. So even internally, we have a totally different, and it's new for me too, by the way. I'm learning as I go on this one. But the point is, it's fun, and we're getting the best out of people, and it's just great.
It's funny to talk about talent, right? Because that's obviously something I know quite a bit about in our core business. But I was reading a book from the founders of Netflix the other day called No Rules Rule, right? And they talk about building up talent density and then removing the parameters. So removing anything that stops people from being able to focus on what they need to focus on. And it's a really good concept, and something that seems like you're doing, right? You enable people to write their own job description by empowering them to go out and be entrepreneurial within the business, right? So I think that's really nice to hear, and certainly I think, given where we are in the world, and coming through this pandemic, I mean, at the time of recording this, we're mid-December. There's talk in the UK about obviously a vaccine, etc. So we're going to need to change that, right? And how we're working and what have you. And that leads me on really nicely, actually, Bob, to my next question about obviously the pandemic, right? So it's really cast light on the need for risk management solutions. And I'm curious to know specifically how again the Encompass Blue Platform can help combat some of these issues for long-term management. Could you talk a little bit about that? Would that be okay?
Yeah, there's two parts to that. There's the greater part, which is the bigger story, and that is what's come out of this is that because of this, we've had facilities managers not being able to go into buildings and not have access because the old legacy systems don't allow remote access, and they've got very little data, so they don't know what's going on. You just can't shut equipment down completely. They have to keep going, otherwise you're going to destroy millions of dollars worth of equipment. And so what this has borne out is that we need digital transformation in facilities, and that's very, very important. And I think globally this is now being recognized. So this will hasten that move towards digital transformation in facilities for existing buildings, and that move. So that's the bigger picture. Now let's go down to our part here, and that is what Encompass Blue can do more specifically around COVID-19. And I guess to start with, when people walk into a building, what do you want to know? Have they got a fever? So we leverage and procure industrial cameras, so they can then take a distance of 15 meters and maybe have 5, 6, 7 people at once come in. Straight up will determine whether they have a fever or not. That's one. Two, you've got issue maybe with building density. So, we have so many people we're allowed, say, in this building under COVID. So what we do is we run camera-based people counting systems and put them at all the entrances, car park, entrances, elevators. So we know at any one time, how many people are in the building. And if you're getting closer, you're not allowed more than X, we can send out alarms and do all sorts of things. Then the next one is more about proximity of people in meeting rooms. So we can map people in meeting rooms to make sure we're not exceeding certain densities. And then the other one is about airflow management, because of course, if your airflow is not being managed correctly, there's in many older buildings, there's dead air spots and there's all sorts of things, and that will promote the transfer of bacteria and viruses. So we look at the number of air changes per hour and manage that better. And then we have antimicrobial sprays for filters and cooling evaporator and condenser coils for the HVAC, air conditioning and heating systems. And they'll last for up to 12 months. So, the combination of all of these things, including air purification as well. So we work with other companies. We don't make all these things, but we'll work with these other companies, and then we'll take responsibility, put them all together, and provide any total solutions or any components, because different clients might, have certain components in place, and then we'll provide the gaps and be happy, to do that and work with our clients on that basis. So there's quite a few areas, and then we got environmental monitoring for air quality. So then we get into, volatile organic gases. We get into carbon dioxide. We get into a number of other things that we can measure, also lux levels and noise and other things. But in this thing, air quality is also very important. And so by providing a complete set of options around this, we can not eliminate, but certainly go a fair way in mitigating risks around COVID-19. And not only COVID, because this will go for any a bacterial or viral type strain. And what we're going to mitigate is all of those things. So if something else comes down the track, which it could, then we're set up already. The building is set up for this. And so that's why it's not only good for this, it will be good for the future.
Yeah, and thank you so much. Yeah, and I think that's the crucial part there in layman's terms, right? Is the fact that you're being able to daisy chain and link all of these systems together using a platform, as opposed to them running individual silos, and therefore the management of that will become more cumbersome. Yes. So what Encompass Blue is doing is being able to manage this all, as you say, from a device, and being able to monitor this, and I think that's great, and I think given the pandemic and given the need to monitor all of these different bits and pieces, density, airflow, etc., it has to be simple, and it has to be a robust solution that works, because otherwise people won't do it, or there'll be errors, there'll be human errors, people will forget to do certain things. So that's really interesting to know, and something that's really topical right now. Bob, so you're a really prominent leader, obviously, in IoT in Australia, obviously being a member of the IoT AA and various other industry bodies. In terms of the future of sustainability within Blue IT, but also the platform that you use, what are your visions for the future? Where would you like this to go? Where do you think it's going to go over the next 5 years? What can we expect to see?
Oh, gee. Okay.
That's a big question. So maybe we'll just tackle one vision for the future.
We intend to be a dominant market leader. We're a leader already with what we're delivering in our technology and our disruption. We're leading the world, but we will be dominant. In 5 years' time, we'll be a dominant player, a major player around the world, delivering just health and wellness and comfort and sustainability on every level. So we're talking carbon net zero. We're talking about, smart grid management, as well as demand response. We have a whole number of services that we can do right now. But as we move forward with our next year, we're moving into, full complete digital twins, but 4-dimensional digital twins. Anyone can do a digital twin. It's just a digital image of a building. And they throw it around like confetti saying, isn't this rocket science? No, it's not. It's what you do with it that can maybe make it rocket science. And so that there's a secret set of ingredients and herbs and spices that we will be injecting into this. So we're talking about making the whole thing living and breathing and organic in itself. That is this whole digital twin. But then delivering, again, it's about delivery. It's about an outcome, not about the tech. And in 5 years' time, we will be a dominant player, not just the market, not just a leader in what we're doing. And we will be delivering safety and health and wellness and massive sustainability outcomes and dramatic reductions in energy and maintenance, even on an old existing equipment. But making life so much better for communities and for people. And that includes parks, gardens, open spaces, and all kinds of, buildings and places, even tunnels, all sorts of different things. So we intend to really be a major player in making a city smart, but healthy and happy. And at every layer, part of the vision is that everybody wins. I don't believe in losers. So what do I mean? I mean, of course, our customers absolutely will be huge winners, because even financially, returns we're delivering, sub 3-year returns and paybacks, as well as a massive carbon footprint reduction. And that's before government rebates. But we're talking about health and wellness outcomes. We're talking about happy, productive environments where people are going to love coming in, to the office. So, we're collaborating with companies even for green walls, and plants inside of buildings. So we're looking at, as I said, a 360-degree approach, not just making, the plant room run better. And so we're talking about a holistic set of solutions in partnering with a bunch of companies. And when I say partnering, an amazing supply chain of quality companies, because too many organizations go out to tender and the cheapest price wins, and they've got these lousy companies installing stuff for the cheapest price, and it's a disaster. You got, say, a LEED rating building that's platinum LEED, for example, or an Australia Neighbours National Australian Built Environment rating system of 5 or 6 star, 5.5 star. But then when you get the practical outcome for for last 12 months operation, it's a disaster because they put cheap garbage inside. And so sick of that. And so here everyone wins. And it's not just about what we put in, it's about continuous improvement. It's about total cost of ownership, total operational outcomes over life. And so we see ourselves as a dominant player, just delivering an amazing set of outcomes, whether it's the facility managers operating the building owners, the people that are residing, or tenants or guests inside a building or a hotel. It's about outcomes for our staff, for our suppliers, everywhere across the board, where everybody wins and everyone has fun. And we're making the planet a much better place. So this is our vision. This is what we will achieve. Indeed, we will.
Bob, I love it. I love the confidence and determination. You're a man after my own heart with that, right? I know you've got some super exciting announcements and news coming up as well. So for our listeners, stay tuned. Have a look on the socials, Blue IoT on LinkedIn. All the links will be in the comments, etc. But Bob, I really appreciate your time. Thank you so much. It's 20 to 12 here in the UK. I know it's 20 to 10, isn't it?
20 to 11. Australia? Yeah. Yes.
20 to 11. Right. Okay. So you've stayed up late for me, and I really appreciate that. But thank you so much for coming on the show, and I wish you all the best in the future. And hopefully, in a couple of years' time, once you're even further down the field, it'd be nice to have a catch up and see where you are at that point. Yeah.
I would love to, and thank you very much for having me. And have a very Merry Christmas and a wonderful and prosperous New Year.
Thank you. You too. All the best. Thanks, Bob.